2 wows. It's been 3 wows. It's been a long time since I've made a video where I'm just hanging out with 3D printing stuff and books and Master Tom Wong and lab tech stuff. So I was planning to do a Sender 1 belay course today, but when I showed up at the thing really early in the morning, and it's pretty cool that it was open really early in the morning. I guess you could still go in there to do climbing, I guess. I found out that there was no availability to take classes. It was all fully booked. So I had to put myself on the waiting list for a completely different day. And it looks like on the weekdays, and again, you guys could go double check on stuff, but I think that they don't have the early classes at 10 at all. So I was here way before 10. I was like here around 8-ish something. But I think that only on the weekends they'll have classes starting at 10. And is it every 2 hours or something? I don't know. Anyway, don't take any of my stuff. Just go check out the website. The website should have all the information for you guys. But just know that on the weekdays, I think the earliest class may be around, I want to say 2, but maybe 4. Anyway, none of my data is going to be reliable, but just know that on the weekdays, the classes will be later, and on the weekends, the classes will be as early as 10 o'clock. Anywho, so I wanted to show you guys something ridiculous but also interesting, because one of the coolest things happened, and again, I was about to give up on Spectrum batteries altogether. I was like, Spectrum batteries are the worst. And they're not really smart. And in some ways that's true, in some ways they're not. That's not true. I mean, of course, DJI batteries are smart, especially the chargers are really smart. And it's very easy to tell what's going on, especially on those more advanced batteries. They will even have, on the battery itself, there's, if you press once, it tells you how much battery is on there, whether it's nearing its death and you need to recharge, or it is fully charged, which is really nice to have that kind of technology directly on the battery itself and not have to have a battery checker or something else on there. So for me, and again, I know my opinions are extremely unpopular, but for me, if you're going to say that you have a smart battery, then it's got to have some kind of technology on it. Like it's got to have at least it's got to have LEDs on it. At least it's got to have a numbers system with a screen or whatever for it to be a smart battery. This, although it is a smart battery, is not really a smart battery. Same as this one over here. I don't know if one is a Gen 1 battery or one is a Gen 2 battery. I don't know. They're slightly different, these ones. This was the old one that came with the Aero Scout ready to fly, and this is the one that came later. And it does look a little bit different. You have QR codes to take a look at right there. So there are differences between these two in sizing and stuff like that. But what I want to talk about today is that the very first one that came, which I thought was 100% dead, turns out not to be dead. And the reason why I thought it was dead is because when I plugged it into this thing here, this is the one that came with the Aero Scout, the large one, and it probably comes with a bunch of other of their devices and stuff. So when I plugged it into this thing, what I was getting was a white light that turned on, and that was it. And even after leaving it for like hours on end, that's the only thing that I got. Now, though, I did a strange thing, which is I grabbed this old battery here, and I plugged the this lead here into its socket here. So I stuck it wrong way, this way. And then, and I can't do this in the car, of course, because I'm in the car right now. I plugged this bit here, the orange bit, into the bit here, as you can see there, and I stuck this one into the wall socket, and this one here is a charger that is designed for nickel metal hydride batteries. I don't know if that's legible at all, but anyway, that's what I did. So I had this one plugged into the wall with one of these things here, because this is a USB cable, so you need to provide your own of this thing. So when they say ready to fly, it does have some bits that are not really ready to fly. You do need to provide some of the stuff for yourself, which is a bit of a drag, but it's okay because the Aero Scout is rather on the cheap end compared to some of the other things, some of the other ready to flies. Anyway, so that is what I did, and it seems to have reactivated this battery. So let's see if that's true again. When I plug it into this thing, this is running off the battery in the car. You see this is supposed to turn on. Let's see if that actually happens or not. And you do need to turn on the engine of the car though. That might actually help a little bit. So in the past, all that you would get would be the white light. But now, if you take a look at that, and that's really annoying, the bling, 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 it is now going pink. It is now going white and pink, which means that this battery is not dead. And as I said before, the way that I resurrected this battery was by sticking this lead in here in this one charger and this one in the other charger simultaneously. I cannot recommend you guys try this because I don't know if this could cause some other issues with the battery or whatever. But what I can tell you is that it brought it back to life. And then later on, I made a video where I show you, I stuck this battery here, and the reason why you know it's not a fake is because this is the new one, and I left the tape on it, and I showed you how this one runs in the ARMA infraction. This was powering the ARMA infraction because this is a new battery, and then you saw in the same video that this other battery, which is the old one, also powering the infraction. So again, these batteries, I guess they're good. I don't know. A lot of people swear by these batteries. I've only had problems with them over and over again. But this is maybe a possible solution to your problem. So before you throw out your batteries, you might want to check this. And then I'm going to take this off real quick. 1 and 2. And I will now plug in the new battery so you guys can see that I'm not faking you out or anything. This is something that really happened. It is something that I didn't expect, something that nobody would ever imagine they could do. But maybe this happened to you at some point and your battery just stopped running, and whenever you attach it, it's not puffy, it's great and all that stuff, and it just won't start. This is something that I tried that worked for me. Again, I can't recommend you do it because I don't know what other situations may arise from doing this. Maybe yours will just catch on fire or whatever. I don't know. I was lucky enough that it didn't, so that's what I did. I plugged this battery lead into this charger, and then this one into the one for the nickel metal hydride one, and it seems to have reactivated the battery. Now, as you can see here, this one is the new one, and right now, for some reason, I don't know what reason that is, this one seems to be not charging on here. So this is a weird, these batteries are not really smart. If you think about it, this is not a smart battery. If stuff like this can happen to these batteries, these cannot possibly be smart batteries because look, this one now is having a problem. So maybe I'll go home and I'll try that thing again that I just did. And it will start charging again. This is unexpected because I tried this at home before bringing it to the thing. This is the brand new one. You see the thing is on there, but now this one is not charging. And I did not fully charge this one either. So again, how smart are these batteries if you have all kinds of problems like these happening? I just cannot fathom. Again, I'm not bashing Spectrum. I'm not bashing the remotes. The remotes are cool. I'm not bashing their nickel metal hydride batteries. I'm just bashing the batteries that look like this, that are lipos, because I've only had problems with these things. Only problems since, and now I have 2 of these, and the same kind of issue has been happening with both of them, so I really don't know what's going on. Okay, now I unplugged it and replugged it. Now it seems to maybe, okay, now it's charging. Again, this is not something that you want as a company. Spectrum, if you take a look at these videos that I do, that I'm not trying to bash you, but this is not stuff that you want to have to deal with. And Spectrum and Horizon Hobby and all that stuff, they have an amazing customer service system where you can even talk to them by email stuff. You let them know what the problem is, and they will send you a brand new battery, like no questions asked. What I'm afraid of, what I'm saying, the reason why so many people bash these batteries and stuff is problems like you just seen right now. False positives, issues that shouldn't be happening. You see now it is charging. Before it was not charging. And people who are noobs, who've never used these batteries before, will keep running into these problems where they're like, is my battery alive? Is it dead? And I think that the only way that you're going to solve this problem, and also make the lives of the customer support people who then have to help those noobs out, and also the company's losing money if you have to keep sending new batteries out to people when their current battery is fine, but there's no way to really troubleshoot any of this stuff, is by making really smart batteries, not just smart because it says on the label, and providing some kind of thing, just like DJI does and a lot of other brands do, is you guys have the engineers, you guys have the technology and all that stuff. Either you should include in the kit a battery tester so that you can just plug it in and see what the thing is and what's going on. I mean, you're providing people with ready to fly kits. The RC Sailors and a bunch of others have said that battery testers can be found like at the $1 or $2 range in price. So just insert it in here. Just make these batteries really intelligent. And I guarantee that if you make these batteries really intelligent, because they've got some kind of LED system and a push button that tells you whether it's charged or not, you have some kind of data, or even like a little screen. Those are super cheap with numbers on it to tell you how much voltage is in there. People will love you a whole lot more. Again, as I said before, I'm a stoic and persistent and annoying son of a gun, so I haven't given up on these batteries, and I've managed to resurrect one battery that was completely dead. But most people don't have that. They don't have that. They will just buy the product. If it doesn't work the first time, doesn't work the second time, they'll just dump the battery, everything, and they'll switch to a different system, or they'll just send you your plane back or whatever else that was being powered by these batteries, and they'll say it's faulty, and they just jump over to Red Cat Racing, Exceed RC, whatever, other companies that provide you with other solutions which don't have problems like this. So anyway, this is not a video of me bashing Spectrum. I obviously received one of the batteries for free because the other one was broken. And another thing that I'm going to say is this charger takes forever to charge a battery. So this is also another problem. Is this is cool that they give this, they provide you with this, and so on and so forth in the ready-to-fly kits, but it takes a really long time. And again, this would be nice to have on this some kind of data, any data at all, like a little screen that's saying your battery is almost fully charged or whatever, some kind of data with percentages telling you this is almost done. Because it feels like sometimes that you have the thing attached to this thing, but you can never tell if it's fully charged or not. And again, the old ones like this with the nickel metal hydride batteries didn't have that data, but it didn't really matter because the nickel metal hydride technology is just better. It doesn't provide as much runtime. It doesn't provide as much power as the LiPo, but it just a better technology in the sense that it works more reliably than the other batteries. So anyway, this is the thing that came to me and stuff. And I'm hoping for the stickers and stuff to come at some point. They said that it will take, they said from the customer support that it takes 6 to 8 weeks for the swag if you register any of your products with Horizon Hobby and Spectrum. Again, you need to have two different accounts. If you're registering your batteries, you do it from one website, and there's another separate website for Horizon Hobby. But anyway, supposedly you're supposed to get some swag from that. And I'm not sure if it's been 6 or 8 weeks, but we're going to be patient and stoic and persistent and wait for that to come. Okay, so now that that's all done of the way, I was not able to do the thing that I want to do, which was get a certification for belay. Belay is, you know, doing climbing, and you want to put those weird harnesses and straps on yourself to be able to lift any of your family members up there so they can climb. You need a certification for that. So just another thing that I need to do. Hopefully I can pass that test. But if it's very straightforward, just like the one that I did for CPR, then, you know, hopefully it's going to be good. Anyway, that was a 16 or 17 minute rant about Spectrum and Horizon Hobby and all that good stuff. But I'm hoping that, again, this is supposed to be a positive video, because at the very least I'm providing you with some hope of restoring the batteries that you have. Hopefully you haven't dumped them in the landfill. And if you do have batteries such as these, again, I can't recommend you to do it because I don't know what the ramifications are, what other possibilities are of doing the thing that I did to revive my battery. What other thing could happen? So, you know, but if you're willing to put this self at risk, that's up to you. Anyway, I'm going to talk about technology today, positive technology. We'll maybe go through one of these things, and then I'm going to go and talk about the other book here. We'll just read a couple of pages from this too, because I don't want to just completely forget about the cool things that we were doing before the holiday season, when I just, you know, didn't have the chance and the time to get out here in front of the camera and do this. Excuse me. Oh, the burps just never end. Did not have breakfast this morning. I wanted to stay light. So that if I was going to do some belay and maybe some climbing, I wouldn't completely rip out my hands. Because one of the things that people don't realize when you're doing activities such as, you know, pole jumping, vaulting, whatever, you know, like if you're doing track and field, when you have to like jump far and do all that kind of stuff, or climbing, because all of your weight is going to be on your hands. Sometimes you'll get like cuts and stuff underneath. The heavier you are, the more likely you are going to scratch or break your hands, skin and stuff. So, or if you're doing long jump, the heavier you are, the less likely you are going to make it over that thing. So a lot of those people who do athletics and stuff, and even the ones at the Olympics, sometimes they're like, oh gosh, I got to hydrate so that I can jump. And then they've just really screwed themselves up because they just made themselves heavier. And so again, they're competing against someone else who maybe didn't drink as much, and they lose. They lose. It's not because they didn't do the work, they didn't put the hours, because they didn't think smart. And then just before they were going to compete against the other athlete, they just, or while they're competing against them, they're constantly overhydrating, and then their fellow guy who has the same structure, like muscle structure and all that stuff, or maybe even not as good as them, will win because they just didn't drink as much. So anyway, we have a culture here in America where everything is surplus. So they overhydrate you, they oversalt you, they oversugar you, and then it's just too much of everything. And again, it is up to you. It is up to you to not do those things so that you can be, I wouldn't say healthy, but healthier. And so, okay, let's see, where did we get to? I think we got off to here. We got to this thing called electromagnetic crane. That is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to build an electromagnetic crane And it looks something like this, I guess, when it's fully made. So let's take a quick look at this thing and see what we do. Sometimes it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart. And yeah, that's one of the things that they don't teach you in school. They just sometimes they'll tell you just work hard and just keep grinding. And then you find out that some of the people are working smart. And then they beat you, which happened to me a lot. So anyway, the spool provides a path for the chain to move, it says on here. The jib is the part of a crane that holds onto the load. The coil of copper wire wound around a steel bolt is the electromagnet. The steel nails are the load that the electromagnet is lifting when it is turned on. Okay, all right, that's another thing that they said. Then there's something about flicking the switch turns the electromagnet off. Winding this metal skewer lifts or drops the crane's jib. Very interesting stuff. Anyway, I'm going to show you the picture, just so you are still in the know of what's going on. Electromagnetic crane. Whenever an electric current flows through a wire, it causes the wire to become slightly magnetic. Wind or wind a current-carrying wire into a coil, and you will have an electromagnet, which works just the same as an ordinary magnet, except that you can turn it on and off. Electric motors, computer hard drives, and loudspeakers are just some of the familiar devices that contain electromagnets. In this project, you'll make a crane that uses an electromagnet to lift steel objects. That seems pretty cool. Let's take a look at this thing real quick here. It shows you how difficult the exercise is in the menu there. So let's see, it says it might take 45 minutes, and it says beware, requires a bradol, hot glue, gun, and heat shrink tubing use. The difficulty is towards the left side, which means easy. Okay, all right, let's get into it. It's not very long, so that's pretty cool. How to make an electromagnetic crane. Okay, so it says the key to this build is to make it as strong as possible. So you can test the strength of the crane by lifting a heavy load. How heavy is it going to be? Not very heavy. You're not going to lift anything really heavy with this, but try to make it strong so that it can lift something small, a fun little object or whatever. We have used corrugated plastic sheets to make the box, but you can use a similar material as long as it is sturdy. We have used a metal chain to support the crane jib. If you can't get your hands on one, you can use string wire instead, I guess. So it says what you need for this build. From the toolbox, you need a ruler that, what's his name? Crazy Russian Dad talks about that in one of his videos. You gotta have a ruler. You need a utility knife, cutting mat, bradol, adhesive putty, hot glue gun, marker, wire cutters, electric tape, sandpaper, wire strippers, double-sided tape. Awesome. So it's gonna require one SPST switch. You will need a 32 to 36 gauge enameled copper wire, 8 feet 8.5 inches, 28 meters, if you will. It's good. It's a pretty long one. I'm not sure that many people can run for 28 meters without, running out of breath. So, you need one bolt, 2 in, 50 millimeters, the threading on that, I guess. You need one battery snap connector. You need one piece of heat shrink tubing. You need 9-volt batteries, like a 9-volt battery. You need metal skewers, 2 of those, in 6 inches or 15 centimeters. Is that a width? I don't know. Metal skewers, I don't know. It's probably the length of the skewer. One box, at least 5/8 times 4 2/2 inches. Gosh, they make this so complicated. It's 13 times 10 times 6 centimeters. And so it's one metal chain. It says 1 millimeter, which is 1 meter. So 1 meter, which is 3 feet. Who knew? And then you need a metal bobbin. I don't even know where to get a metal bobbin, but here, I'll show you the picture, and you guys can read this to yourselves, because I guess that was pretty confusing the way I read it. I'm pretty confused, so you're probably pretty confused too. Oh, gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. All right, so using a bradal, something that I've never used ever, and I've never seemed to need, but apparently they're big on bradals on this book, so get yourself a bradal. Cut 2 strips of corrugated plastic, 12 inches or 30 centimeters by 3/4 of an inch, which is 2 centimeters. Then use the bradal to make a hole in the center of each strip about 1 inches, 2.5 centimeters from one of the ends. It says using a glue gun, see page 22. I guess they want to remind you how to use a glue gun, which is on page 22. Glue the strips to the side of the box. Make sure the 2 holes at the top are aligned. You can glue around the holes to secure the skewers in place if you like, but you don't have to. You can use other methods of keeping the things together. But what you're doing is you've created these 2 bits with holes, and then hopefully the holes are in the same exact spot. Otherwise, it's going to be wobbly. And then you're going to put a skewer through that hole there, and the thing called the metal bobbin in the middle. So then you sandwich this metal bobbin, and the skewer is what keeps it in place. And you possibly could use glue to keep those other bits in place. But I'll show you the picture in a second, because it's probably confusing based on what I said. Place one of the metal skewers through one of the holes, slip the metal bobbin onto the skewer, then stick the skewer through the other hole. So if you say it in words, it's probably very complicated. If you look at the picture, it's probably not as complicated. See, this is the sandwiching that I talked about. The bobbin is there, the skewer goes through there and stuff. Very cool. It says to mark a dot 3/4 inches or 2 centimeters down, and a 1 1/8 inches, 3 centimeters in from the opposite corner of the box on both sides as shown. Use the bradal to poke a hole through through both sides or both dots. I'm going to show you what that's about, because it looks really complicated, but it's probably not. Excuse my cough. Wrap the end of the chain around the middle of the lower skewer and secure it in place with some hot glue. When the glue has dried, spin the skewer to wrap the piece of the chain around it. And then there's going to be I skipped a step because I went to 6. From 4 I went to 6. Great. Before that, you should have done this other step here, so we're going to do that again. Slide the other metal skewer all the way through both holes in the box. Make sure the skewer can turn freely, as it will be the handle for your crane. Okay, so the skewer is going to be the handle for your crane, and then after that, it wants you to use and wrap the chain around the middle of the lower skewer and secure it in place with some hot glue. So the point is, when you wind that up, the chain is going to be on top of that thingy, that metal bobbin, and that metal bobbin will also be able to turn, and it stays in place, and that's going to be what's going to help you bring things up and down, and the skewer is going to be the cranking device. So it says turn the skewer around a few times to make sure it turns freely. I'm going to show you the pictures to that, so make sure you go through picture 4 first, then you go to picture 5, and then you go to picture 6, and I got that in the wrong order, which is disastrous. I'm going to show you picture 8 and 7. Wow. It is cold in here. Oh, it is cold and dusty, and I might have to just... No, I don't have COVID. No, I don't have COVID, but it's just dusty in the car. And the combination of dust, oh, man, that's bad. So the combination of dust and it being really cold on my feet stimulates the sneezing. So I apologize for that. I do not have COVID. Man. All right, so next, starting at least 6 inches or 15 centimeters in front of, from one end, wrap the enameled copper wire tightly around the bolt about 600 times. That's a lot of times. Then cut the wire, leaving another 6 inches or 15 centimeters free at the other end. So that is where the bolt comes into place. Then it says use the sandpaper to scrape 1 inches or 2.5 centimeters of the coating off both ends of the enameled wire to reveal the shiny copper. This will allow you to make an electrical connection at the end. So I'm going to show you these last bits again. Part 7 that I just read, and then part 8. That is the bolt that I talked about, and that is also present here in the beginning. And what you've done is you've wrapped for some reason it doesn't tell you, and it reminds you, but there's 2 bits of the blue or wacky material. What is a black corrugated? Okay, the corrugated plastic sheet. They wanted you to put that on 2 of the sides of the bolt there. That's the blue thing there, and then secure the wiring in between those, and hopefully that maybe is to reduce the chances of you getting a shock or something. But I guess I don't know why they don't really go into that very much. So anyway, then it tells you to do something very dangerous, which is to use a naked flame from a lighter or something. It says briefly heat the tubing with the lighter until it shrinks around the 2 wires. So you got to use that shrink wrap. It says to strip the battery snap connection wires. Slip some heat shrink tubing over one of the copper wires and wrap the wire around one of the battery wires. Cover the joint with the tubing and heat sink. Gosh, I'm getting almost no heat. I had to make sure that the heat is only coming from the feet part and not from the top bit, because last time when we did this, when the heat was coming up, and that's too loud. It's already loud enough that it's raining on the car. I don't want to have the heater too loud. What happened was that it overheated the iPhone 13 mini. I'm sure the iPhone 13 Pro Max and all the big ones as well have the same problem. But the heater was heating them, and that small amount of heat was enough to, make it run wild and overheat. And so then you get that overheat message on your phone, which wrecked one of my live streams last time. So we're not doing that. And the heating is only coming from the lower bit, the lower heater in the car, which brings the heat upwards from the feet, which is what I need right now, because my feet got cold this morning. I stepped in a puddle, so they were wet to begin with. And now when the temperature was just getting cold in the car, it started to get me to sneezing. So anyway, something that you might not know that might help you out is it's not everything is the flu and not everything is COVID. You can still get a sneeze from doing that, just that. So, all right, let's get back to this thing that we were talking about. We're now talking about the whatchamacallit, the SPST switch. So now we're talking about that in step 10. Wrap the other end of the copper wire around one of the terminals on the switch. If you want to make it more secure, you can solder it in place, but it is not necessary. Okay. So that one of the wires that we were talking about, I guess probably the red, input wire goes onto one of the sides of the switches there, and it is so thin that you probably can't even see it, but there it is right there. And then it's going to talk about the negative. I think the negative is usually for black, or the opposite of red, which is black in most of these projects. So wrap the remaining wire from the battery snap connector to the other terminal of the switch. Again, if you wish to make it more secure, you can solder it in place. That's an extra step, but if you want to make it permanent, once you're done testing all the bits and pieces, you can make it permanent by soldering it in place. And then next step, which will be 12, is now take the bolt from the step 7 tape the free end of the metal chain securely to the smaller end of the bolt. So this is the bit that we're talking about. We went from here to here to here. Squeeze me. All right, so now it says, make sure you firmly attach the battery snap connector. And it tells you another warning is don't leave the switch on for too long, as the wire and battery can get hot. It says attach the battery snap connector to the battery, turn on the switch, and check that the bolt is magnetic by trying to pick up some paper clips or steel nails. Here we go. This bit here. So you've seen now that the skewer is, you've got two of these skewers. You've got one skewer going through here, keeping that bobbin or whatever that weird thing is in place, and another skewer down there, which you can turn to wind this chain that's dropping out here. You can wind it inwards towards this other skewer back here. So you're winding it up. It's going up this bobbin, whatever that thing is. And so that is what it's doing. That is what it's doing. It's going up and down. So step 14 is to turn off the switch and use the double-sided tape to stick the battery and the switch inside the box. Your electromagnetic crane is ready to run. Yes, it is ready to run. You have everything in the box and it's ready to go. And whatchamacallit, you have everything, not just an ARF or a BNF or whatever, those things that are not fully ready to run. This you've got everything. You've got the battery, you've got the electronics, and you've got the skewer cranking system. You've got it all. You've got it all. So now what it's going to do is, it says, try picking up various objects with your crane by turning on the switch and winding the handle to bring up the jib. So how you can make this exercise even cooler is to attach a magnet at the end of the bolt, and then having a magnet, you know, like with putty or blue tack, whatever, so that then you can attach the putty to whatever object you want, and it has a magnet on it, and then that will create the connection onto this project. But anyway, it tells you here how it works. Again, the switch is going to provide the battery is going to provide the power for the thing, but you switch it on with a switch. So then that allows the battery power to go to the thing that will allow it to wind up and down. So anyway, it says how it works. When an electric current is flowing, a magnetic field is created. The stronger the current, the stronger the magnetic field. In your electromagnetic crane, this effect is increased by coiling the wire and adding the bolts. This increased magnetic field attracts the steel nails. And that is cool. So then it goes, a magnetic field surrounds the wire when a current is running through it. Blah, 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 blah. I guess you may not even need the extra magnets. This already creates the magnetic field that you need to succeed. Oh, okay. I completely misunderstood how this exercise works. So you're already creating the magnets by using the power and the magnetic fields. So truly, the thing is, the crank, you need to crank things up to lift things. So there is no motor doing that. I completely misread the whole purpose of this thing. So the purpose of this thing is to create a magnet that then lifts objects. Okay. So what was I smoking? You don't need an extra magnet things with the whatever thing I said. Scrap all of that. That was just for comic relief. Anyway, the steel bolt increases the strength of the magnetic field yet again as the bolt itself becomes magnetized. So what you're really trying to do is create a crane like you will see at the when you've totaled your car and you go to one of those, smash your car places. You have these things. The real world inventions are scrap metal cranes, and they have very powerful magnetic fields on those things that are so strong that they can lift a car with that magnet and then dump it into a machine that then crimples and crushes the car into small cubes that then are sent to the landfill or other places where I guess they store the metal or whatever. I don't know. They try to recycle the metal, hopefully, or they just land in the landfill forever. I don't know. It's hard to say. What people do with these things. So anyway, large, powerful electromagnetic cranes are used in scrap yards. That's the word, scrap yards, to pick up scrap metal. It only works on ferrous metals, so it has to be metal, ferrous, of the ferrous kind, and it has nothing to do with ferrets. So don't start blaming the animals now. Ferrous meaning metal. In Italian, we say ferro. Ferro is metal in Italian. So anyway, those containing iron. So it has to contain iron. Since most scrap metal is steel, which is a combination of iron and carbon, these cranes are perfect tools. Similar cranes are used in factories to move around large sheets of steel. Here we go. I will show you all the cool things that I just talked about here in the picture. And boy, are they so cool. They are. Okay, there we go. So that was the exercise that we learned today. And again, don't go back and listen to the stupid me. This is Marco from the future talking about what I said earlier before. Don't go putting an extra magnet on the end of the tool and then an extra magnet on the thing that you want to lift, because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of what they were trying to do here. Just disregard that and just think that it was part of the comic relief. Anyway, Master Tom Wong is here to stay. And again, I do believe you can still get this on Amazon. I wanted to make an awesome review for Master or Grandmaster Tom Wong. Sadly, Amazon doesn't like me like most other things, Twitter. And so I am banned from writing reviews on Amazon. But hey, at least I can do stuff on YouTube still until YouTube decides to do something. Again, I'm not sure why they would do things that they do, but they do. Like recently, I created a whole new YouTube channel in collaboration with Aini Doll and another person, and I don't want to get them in trouble, but they were kind enough to help me create a whole new YouTube channel called Aini Doll Marco. And guess what? YouTube killed it, deleted it. And their claim was it was created nefariously, and it seems to have somehow broken some rules or regulations, which is complete and utter dog poop. So, but anyway, I'm going to put it in the description going forward on this channel. So whenever I do a live stream or I post a new video, whatever, it's going to be on the thing on the bottom. You guys will be able to take a look at this channel. Unfortunately, it is no longer viewable even. They've completely knocked it out. It was Aini Doll Marco, and YouTube killed the channel. So anyway. Oh, the network has forced off, and it is now raining on. Anyway, I'm going to talk about this cool book here. And the second I said that, YouTube just removed the two amazing people who were watching the show. It just went away like that. I'm going to do a screenshot right now of the screen. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, no, one's back. One's back. Only one out of two is back here on the thing. Just when I was about to screenshot and get it in trouble, it didn't want me to. All right, I'm going to do this for posterity. I'm still going to do a screenshot. There's only one. There's only one right now. There used to be two. Unfortunately, I do not have a screenshot of the two that showed up. But maybe they'll come back. They'll come back. Who knows? Who knows? YouTube algorithm of death. It's been trying to kill me. The YouTube algorithm. It's been trying really hard to kill. Kill that marker of views. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him dead. But sadly, it hasn't. Sadly for it, everyone else is maybe sad or maybe happy. The haters are just hoping that tomorrow I won't show up and that I will be dead and that the algorithm will have killed me. And those very few people who care about me will be like, no. Anyway, let's talk about cool things. Cool things here. Secret origin of Wing Chun. Secret origin of Wing Chun. So we left off with this really cool image of Grandmaster Tom Wong and I believe it is Sum Nung, the same image that you will find on the cover of the book. And don't forget to go check out Grandmaster Tom Wong's YouTube channel. His has been around possibly longer than that other weird Tom Wong that goes out there and pretends that he does Wing Chun or whatever. He's got a bald head, speaks in an English accent, and says endless swear words. He's not the real deal. This guy here is the real deal. So anyway, just thought I'd put that out there because if you do type in the search engine, what you're going to find is anyway, that's what you're going to find, guys. That's what you're going to find. You're not going to find the real Tom Wong, unfortunately. Anyway, it says pick Sum Nung and author practicing sticky hands. Top pick in Sum Nung Wing Chun. He's talking about the Tan Sao, the Fok Sao, and the Bong Sao. All emphasize bending the wrists. Bottom pick in contrast Shaolin Wing Chun emphasize locking the wrists straight. So basically it shows you the difference between the two kinds of Wing Chun. And obviously one system is going to be more reliable and useful when actually sticking to the opponent's arms. The other one is going to be more about, it has different applications, I guess, but it's not as reliable and it doesn't work as well as you want it to be, because the idea is to stick onto your opponent or the partner that you're working with the way that a snake would, and a snake would bend, right? That would bend its body around the other part in order to have more parts of your body or surfaces of your skin in contact with the surface of the skin of your opponent in order to latch on. In the other form or style, there is no real latching on. It is just skin to skin, and it is not as effective, if you will. The following motion of high palm, low palm, and back fist is done at an increasing speed before slowing down again to the Fok Sao. Again, please, the YouTube algorithm of death will probably say that I said Fok Sao. Fok Sao is not a bad word, guys. It's not a bad word, but you know that the algorithm might, because the algorithm is really stupid, it might turn the text of this video to a bad word. But Fok Sao, as you can see here in the book, and I am demonstrating, but YouTube will probably demonetize this video because I said Fok. But Fok Sao is not a bad word. Anyway, again, as I said before, this is something that you guys can do if you are very good and have mastered the art of speaking Chinese, whether it is Cantonese, which is extra difficult, or Mandarin. If you guys have your own YouTube channel or a Reddit page or whatever the heck you guys have, it could be WordPress. WordPress is pretty cool. You could use a video connected to whatever other thing and post a comment underneath and explain how to say a lot of the Chinese words that I butcher in this video, and then link it up. I will allow the comment or the link to your video to stay on, even though YouTube might be stupid about it and want to remove it. I will allow it to stay on because I don't remove stuff that is useful. But the algorithm is just really not that intelligent. They claim it's an intelligent algorithm, but it's really not. It's a devious algorithm, but it's, you know. Anyway, so we're going back to the Fuxao here. The Fuxao movement emphasizes stretching the elbow towards the center line of the body and focusing on the dantian to build qi. It is particularly important to do the Fuxao slowly to build up qi. The slouched back and relaxation of the shoulders then helps the qi focus in the dantian. This helps lower the center of gravity in grappling as well. In contrast, when one breathes with their upper chest puffed out and limbs stretched outwards like a bodybuilder displaying his muscles, one will have more openings and a higher center of gravity. Therefore, while this is similar to how grizzly bear looks when it's standing up and gives off a bigger and more aggressive image, it actually makes it easier for the opponent to tackle and conduct takedowns. So what it's talking about here is, you know, sometimes if you are going to be in the forest or whatever, and you see a bear or you see something and you want to like look scarier to the other animal, you will puff up your chest, you will lift your hands very high and make yourself bigger, because usually in the animal world, that tends to make the other opponent feel like they're less likely to want to come and fight you, because they feel that you are more threatening than, let's say, a mouse, or like shrinking up into a ball, like what, or laying flat on your belly. Sorry, laying flat on your back and having your belly exposed and hands up like doggies do when they show you that they have been defeated or whatever. So yeah, that actually is counterproductive in a fight based on the Wing Chun here, because it exposes you to more, there are more pressure points that you allow to be open to the opponent to attack, but also it is, you are putting yourself in a position that is easier to knock over a man or a woman who is, you know, doing the art of fighting. Anyway, so furthermore, Xiu Lim Tao or Aomei Wing Chun in general emphasizes bending the wrist in different directions to apply wrist strikes in all directions. This leads to significant differences in striking and grappling applications. Hand weight training is not encouraged. Rather, relaxation is emphasized. So what it's talking about here is that actually to be better at Wing Chun, or this Omei Wing Chun, or Sum Nung Wing Chun, or all the other Grandmaster Tom Wong Wing Chun, relies more on your ability to flex your body and build the correct muscle structures, rather than just pumping yourself up like a bodybuilder. So actually pumping yourself up like a bodybuilder decreases your range of motion. If your biceps and triceps and all that stuff are excessively large and excessively tight, it limits your range of motion. And unfortunately, a lot of bodybuilders do not work on flexibility as they should. There are a few which are really amazing. They do gymnastics and bodybuilding together, which is a great combination. And so then you look at this really big, like, bodybuilder type, and he can still do a backflip or whatever, or a front flip, and that is amazing. And they can still do a split and stuff. That is amazing. But most bodybuilders are very inflexible. And so if you don't work on the flexibility of your wrist rotation and ankle rotation and elbow rotation and knee rotation and all that stuff, and torso rotation and all these bits and neck rotation, all those things need to work together in order to get the best out of this. And I'm going to show you a picture where, if you are a bodybuilder, good luck trying to do this, try to pull this off, where your elbow can actually reach the middle of your solar plexus, because this is where this is going. A lot of this Aomei Wing Chun relies on you to be able to stick your arm here in the center part of your body so that it can be a protective tool as well as a offensive tool. And a lot of people can't do that. They can't do that as bodybuilders. Their muscles are so big and they're so inflexible that they can't even bring themselves in there. So let me do another screenshot for posterity's sake, because the second viewer is back, and that is a great thing. Thank you for showing up. So there we go. So as I said before, a lot of what you're going to see here in Aomei Wing Chun, or at least Grandmaster Tom Wong or Sum Nung's Wing Chun, Yan Kai San's Wing Chun as well too, is that a lot of the moves that you will do in the Siu Lim Tao form, Siu Lim Tao, again, guys, if you are Chinese and you want to help out, how do you say that? Make a YouTube video, link it up to the comments section here for the other people to know how to say this right. Let's be an inclusive channel here and help people out. Anyway, there we go. So you have to have extra flexibility and capabilities in order for you to be able to do Wing Chun properly, which is why this form of martial arts is very good for close combat, similar to jiu-jitsu and stuff, but you're standing most of the time. And let's say if you're stuck in an elevator and somebody attacks you, this is the kind of martial arts you want to be practicing, because it does give you some leverage and advantages compared to some of the other martial arts which require a large space. Like you're doing karate, a lot of karate, and Taekwondo requires a sort of semi-long range attack in order to be able to do what you do. And if you're stuck in an elevator, you can't do a proper full karate punch in there. It's just, you got to do stuff like this. Even boxing in some cases is going to be better in an elevator than some of the other, especially if you keep to the actual form, right? If you keep it strictly to the form, and you don't like do the smaller movements, it's going to be difficult to fight inside a small area. Hey, what if you're getting attacked inside your car and your legs are out of the way, so you only can do like upper body movements to get yourself out of the tight spot? This is the kung fu, or the martial art that you need. Anyway, I'm gonna read a couple more pages here. We're gonna go through this part here and this part here, and I'm gonna make it easy so you guys can read it to yourselves if you wish later on. Stop the video and just in case I made some mistakes or whatever. I always do make a mistake here and there, so you know. And I also encourage you guys to go to Monterey Park, where Grandmaster Tom Wong does his classes. He does, I do believe, some Zoom classes too, but it's better to do them in person because you learn more and you can ask questions. One of the most important things about learning, which I never did as a child, is because I was too shy, is ask questions, ask pertinent, and pertinent meaning questions that pertain, that are related to the subject that you are trying to learn. So don't go into Eli the computer guy's class and ask him about Wing Chun because he's teaching robotics and coding, right? If you go to Master Tom Wong's class and you ask him all stuff about flexibility and Kung Fu, he will have answers for you. Or if you go to Rodney's class, which is another really good teacher here that works with Master Tom Wong, or whoever other teachers that work with this style of Kung Fu that are sponsored or basically related and approved by Grandmaster Tom Wong, then ask questions that are related to this subject, right? Don't ask questions like, oh, what was Elon Musk doing? You know, like that is a non-pertinent question. It is not a stupid question, but it just wastes everybody else's time in the classroom, right? So, there we go. So, topic. So, Aomei Wing Chun's Tan Sao is relaxed and hunched back, and the wrist should be twisted and bent. The elbow is placed along the body's center line, bottom pick Shaolin Wing Chun. Tan Sao places a straight palm or fist along the body's center line instead of placing the elbow along the body's center line. The shoulders and chest are expanded with muscular tension. And then it goes on talking about Shaolin Wing Chun Silum Tao. Shaolin Wing Chun Silum Tao form consists of 108 techniques. You can watch Shaolin Wing Chun Grandmaster Chen Wao Xuan's grandson Chen Kwok Gay. Again, guys, this is not me being sexist or against the gays. It actually says this over here. So if the algorithm tries to demonetize this video because of stuff, guys, the algorithm is really stupid. Anyway, demonstrate his forms on YouTube. So there is a grandson, Chen Kwok Gay, on YouTube, and his channel is probably not as popular as the other Tom Wong that I talked about, Master Tom Wong or whatever. The bald guy with the English accent, which swears all the time. Anyway, there are some YouTube channels that have real kung fu, real karate, real bunch of other things on, but most of those channels get absolutely no views, as usual. So the forms are executed with a clear rhythm. The hands, but not the elbows, are consistently placed along the center line during the demonstration of the form, including during Tan Sao, Bong Sao, and Fok Sao. In addition, all the techniques involving the wrist keeps the wrist locked, stiff, and bending. Wrist action is minimized, and the palm is kept straight like a karate knife hand. The arms are outstretched and tense like a steel bar. Thus, this form emphasizes locking the wrist, using the knife edge hand posture to strike, and training the arms to be tense and strong as clubs. Okay, so you do need to do iron. In order for any of the techniques to actually work, guys, you can't have beautifully Vaselined hands, right? Like, what is it? The key or the K. There was this, back in the day, there was this book that I read. I think it was the key or the K anyway. And one of the characters in there loved himself so much, and he Vaselined his hands to keep them nice and soft and stuff. If you want to know how to be a real martial artist, you can't be Vaselining your hands all day long. You do need to do iron training. Otherwise, you don't need to go as far as having calluses all over your knuckles and stuff, but you do need to do the training in order to create the stronger bone structure underneath and the flexibility and the tendons and stuff like that. The skin and the muscles and stuff get stronger by hitting objects repeatedly. Again, you don't have to hit it at 100% strength, which is why so many people break their hands. But you do need to do this constant iron training where you do hit things. Again, depending on your level of training, you can hit objects such as cement and punching bags and stuff like that with naked hands. Hit it repeatedly, slowly, bonk, 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 bonk every day until you develop the strength. Again, what I'm trying to say is, if you're a beginner, you don't smack this as hard as you can. What you do is every day you get in front of one of these things and you'll do this for a couple of minutes. Maybe the first day it'll hurt after you do a minute of this, but the next day it won't. And what you're doing in this very basic exercise, and you can do this while watching TV if you wish, unless you're annoying your spouse or your kids or whatever. And just by doing that much, you don't have to hit it hard. You just do that much. Do that for a minute every day. Eventually you'll be able to hit it a little bit harder for a minute, and a little bit harder for a minute, and a little bit harder for a minute, until you can hit it. And again, I never stress this enough. Never hit 100%. Maybe hit it 75% at the most, even when you are an expert, because hitting at 100% could still cause some damage, or at least micro fractures that you don't really want. So that's probably a better way of working smarter instead of harder to achieve goals, right? So let's take a look at this image, and this is going to be the end for this live stream today. But this here is something that you will notice in martial arts that doesn't really work compared to martial arts that does work. So as you can see here, when you're doing, it doesn't matter if it's a karate punch, it doesn't matter if it's a Wing Chun punch, it doesn't even matter if it's a Taekwondo punch. When you are trying to punch, the idea is you want to go through that center line and look at this elbow. It's a chicken wing. It's a chicken wing. It's a bingo wing martial arts, right? In the correct form, this elbow needs to be tucked in, because remember the best distance or the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. What are you doing by having a bingo wing here? You want this to be straight when you're going through into the opponent and you are attacking. So this is basically your winding pose to jump into a punch, right? You don't want a bingo wing sticking out here like a duck. Bring this in towards your spine, bringing the elbow towards the center line, right? This is a fixed point here in space. So your wrist is a fixed point in space, but what can move is the shoulder right there. So wind that elbow back closer towards the center line of your body. So this elbow should be going in this direction. Okay? Keep that tucked in like you see here. This is good form, this is bad form right there. And also here, this is good form and this is bad form. You see how the elbow is out here, and this is the elbow straight in the center line there. So anyway, this is good technique for Wing Chun and stuff like that. Some people will object to this and say this is bad and other things like that. But what you're learning in this book here with Grandmaster Tom Wong is Wing Chun. You're not learning something else. So just know that the elbow needs to be placed straight center line. You see it is almost matching with the Adam's apple if you've got one. If not, it's your chin going down to the solar plexus, which is right around here where the palm is, but you can't see it's covering it. So the solar plexus is somewhere around it. So you go chin, solar plexus, and your elbow right underneath. And most likely your elbow is going to end up somewhere where your belly button is if you're doing the correct techniques, somewhere around there. Anyway, so now that we've gone through these little pictures here and stuff, I'm going to say bye to you guys, and we will continue on. Hopefully tomorrow there's going to be a chance for me to come out here and do some stuff with Master Tom Wong stuff and, you know, the cool tech stuff that we're talking about. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I'm going to say this is positive stuff that's been going on. I am happy that I have now got 2 batteries that are working, that are Spectrum batteries. Both these batteries are now working, which is great. I have to go back to the field and test them out to make sure that they run. They do seem to discharge a lot, so I'm going to have to charge them again on the day before taking them to the field, because I think they discharge so much. I mean, I thought that DJI batteries discharge a lot, and they do discharge a considerable amount. So sometimes if you want to have a full pack, you got to charge it on the day. But these discharge way too much. That's good for safety, but at the same time, I guess that's what was going on. Why, by the time I brought it to the field the next day, and it was just 24 hours later, or even less than 24 hours later, when I brought this to the field, the batteries were dead. And so therefore, only the nickel metal hydride kept the charge and powered on the car, but these did not. So I don't know. Again, as I said before, I think these batteries are too smart for me. They just keep outsmarting me. I'm too old and stuff, so I'm just gonna go back to running. Most of the time I'm gonna be running the nickel metal hydride, because at least I know that if I charge them even the night before, I take them to the field and they run. So anyway, that was my rant for the day. And again, if you guys care about it, I'm gonna put links going forward in the description. If you guys ever do care about helping us out, we've made some cool things such as 3D printable cars, shells and stuff for your cool cars that you've already got. That because if you are if you like the RC hobby and you already have cars like this and you want to have something that's cool, maybe even for a gift for your friend, you bought them this cool car, but you want to give them something that's different that nobody else has. You could 3D print, if you have a 3D printer, one of these things. I'm willing to give it to you for free if you want, or you could buy it off CG Trader. Either way, it's fine. Or you could pay PayPal some money for support. But again, I rarely do these videos, but I started to do them now because, as Eli the Computer Guy says, free education and stuff that I try to bring to this channel isn't free. And so I've been working for free for over 16 years, doing this kind of stuff, building rapport with cool artists and stuff, and collaborating to build these things. And if you want to give some supporting hand to stuff, you can. If you don't, I will keep making these videos anyway, because that's what I do. Anyway, so thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next episode, and I'm going to leave you guys with this cool image over here. And again, if you guys want this book, go check it out. It's on Amazon. I'm pretty sure that this is on Amazon too, but I bought mine in Costco, and shout out to Costco. So anyway, there we go. Thanks for watching. And there is a thunderstorm around me right now. Not really, but it's pretty bad. Raining and stuff on my parade. And with that, hopefully I'll see you guys in real flight. So take care, guys. Have an awesome day.